What's up with it? It's OG Hollywood tapping in. Okay, so I ran a social experiment yesterday on my Instagram. I had a theory and I wanted to prove myself correct, and I did. My theory was majority of you niggas out there who be talking about somebody snitched and somebody ratted do not even know what a rat is. And I proved this. I'll show you how with this poll. What I did was I took out an excerpt from someone's paperwork, just a small excerpt, and I didn't allow the name to be seen. But you could see that it was a SMM indictment, right? And I posted that small excerpt from what they said on the screen, and I asked all of my followers on Instagram if they thought that this was searching, and my fault, if they thought this was snitching. I asked all my followers if they thought that this was snitching, and I put a poll on it for them to answer yes or no, okay? So here's the statement. It says, he also asserted that despite the contents of the audio recording of the SMM meeting, he was not a member of SMM, that indeed he had been the only non-member present at the meeting, but had been allowed to be present because those are my friends. That was the excerpt that I put. I said, does this sound like snitching? Or do you all think this is snitching? Honest question, is this snitching? He said he was the only non-member there. And an overwhelming amount of you said yes, that was indeed snitching. Okay. I said I was going to wait until today to reveal to you all just whose paperwork that was. This particular individual is someone I know very well. We don't always see eye to eye, but he's still someone I know very, very well. And this particular individual had no less than 13 co-defendants on this case. And he's never been called a rat one time. This particular individual, if I'm not mistaken, was the only one on that indictment who even went to trial. He was the only one who had bodies on him on that indictment and went to trial. And you all just called him a rat. And I understood the concept of someone saying, well, he testified, which means got on the stand that other people were gang members. That's snitching. And I said, no, you're taking it out of context. What you don't realize is the case was from 01. His trials went in 05. You know what that means? All them other niggas had either already copped out or had already turned rat. So how is he snitching? How is he snitching? And the crazy part about it is, depending on exactly what date those wiretaps were from, he might have been telling the truth. Because he didn't become blood until after he came home from another bid. And that might have been in 99 or 2000 maybe even. That might have been in 2000. 99 or 2000. So for us to look at these people's paperwork and not know context sometimes, man, you can really make a big mistake and put a rat jacket on somebody who's not a rat, man. I know a lot of people, when it was time for them to go to trial, go to court or whatever, they lied. They didn't tell on nobody. Nobody went to jail. But they lied. Had an alibi. Or concocted a story. But that man saying that he was the only person in there that wasn't a gang member, after everyone who was already in there already copped out and admitted to being a gang member, that doesn't make him a snitch. Not one of his codees has ever called him a snitch. None of them are in jail because of them. None of their sentences were lengthened because of them, or affected in any way, shape, form, or fashion because of him. They already had their sentences before he went to trial, and nothing he said affected that. So sometimes, man, you got to really take it with a grain of salt. When you see some of these dudes up there, they ain't never been grabbed for no hot one. I made this video a while back. I said, man, stop talking about dudes as rats who you know is still certified killers. And you know that you already 30-something, 40-something years old. You ain't never killed nothing in your life. You ain't gonna kill nothing in your life. The bottom of your birth certificate said you ain't never gonna kill nothing in your life. Why are you talking about these type of people, like calling them that? My hatred though, my particular animosity for snitches, it has nothing to do with street. And it's very upsetting when people make it seem like it's all about the street if you have an issue with snitches. Nigga, you ever been snitched on a job? Huh? You ever came in the parking lot 10 minutes late and had a nigga from a whole nother department ain't got nothing to do with nothing, went and told the supervisor who didn't know you got there late? You ever had somebody run back and go tell the people you didn't lock out and tag out the machine when you done already finished using the machine 30 minutes ago? Ain't nobody business you didn't lock out, tag out the machine at this point. You ain't never had nothing like that happen to you? Oh, I have. That ain't got nothing to do with the streets. You hate a snitch. Every time somebody say, yo, I can't stand a rat, the first thing people say, oh, you must still be in the street. No, you must be the nigga on a job that's ratting on everybody. Now I know who it is. This is why I always said the whole paperwork thing is deeper than paperwork. It's deeper than paperwork. You can see something on paper, like Nut testified that everybody else in the room was a gang member and he wasn't. That doesn't mean you ratted, brother. You gotta stop going by, oh, I saw this on the paper, in what context was it true? Did somebody go to jail? Did anybody get punished for it? Is it a real person? Is it a real person? Is this nigga sitting here saying Kaiser Sose did it? He's scared to death of Kaiser Sose. Kaiser Sose did it all. Could y'all please protect me from him? I want to go in protective custody because I'm afraid of Kaiser Sose. If Nut was a rat, CB would have put it out there. CB was his co-defendant. And there were times when they didn't see eye to eye. You don't think CB would have went and told the whole damn world Nut is a rat if Nut was indeed a rat? That shit would have been came out. Ain't nobody ever called Nut a rat. But I put his paperwork up there on Instagram, and I took a poll. Y'all see what the numbers came out looking like. It was crazy. And this is out of about 200 people. About 200 people took this poll, voted on this, and came to this conclusion. So my theory that the majority of you don't even know what snitching is happen to be correct. You got people who can't even pronounce the words they're reading, let alone define them. Try to tell you who a snitch is and what a snitch is. People who like borderline Down syndrome should not be defining to the streets what a snitch is when they're not articulate enough to read paperwork and comprehend it properly. They shouldn't be the ones giving out that information. They could lead you astray possibly. Like they say, misery loves company. Some people got kicked out of the gang and can no longer be a part of the street life. So they just want everyone else to be miserable with them. They want to destroy everyone else's name and destroy everyone else's credibility because they have no name. They have no credibility. They were ran out of the streets. And one way to make someone as unimportant as you are is to label them a snitch, to label them a rat, to comb through their paperwork and find where they said something. But what I say is, who's the nigga you respect? Let me see his paperwork. Let me show you something real quick. All the niggas you respect that's doing all that time with life, they didn't tell nobody. Did he go to trial? Let me see what happened in that trial. Let me see what he said to defend himself in that trial. And I'm pretty sure I could twist it into snitching.